Hi friends, my name is Harpreet and I am student of Master of Manufacturing at La Trobe University. Today I am presenting a video on the investigation of sustainability, environmental practices and regulations in the mining industry in Australia. So mining industry is the major contributor to the nation's economy and has underpinned the rise in incomes, living standards and prosperity over decades. It is the nation's largest exporter as 55% share of total exports according to data provided by MCA in 2017 and 18 and 1.9 billion exploration expenditure. So it is the major contributor in the Australian economy. So there are many challenges as well in this industry. So I'm explaining challenges faced by this industry. First one is increasing cost base. The ongoing depletion of low cost inputs like raw material, energy, equipment along with demand of highly skilled labor is resulting into the rise in the cost structure in the mining industry in Australia. So shortage of highly skilled staff is acting as major constraint in the development of mining industry in Australia. So availability is not appropriate and this is adding to the production costs. Second is procurement of capital. Raising the optimum use of funds is one of the biggest constraint in the mining projects, as the increasing cost of production and exploration of mining practices has adverse impact on the profit margins. Sometimes the potential investors are reluctant to invest in the sustainable equipments due to costs. So that's why it is also a big challenge in this industry. Third one, rising competitive pressure. The Australian mining sector is likely to face growing competition due to emergence of new players, new acquisition strategies worldwide in the area of mining in past few years. The persistent decline in the share of global exploration expenditure received by Australia during I think last one decade is an indicator that there is a significant impact of growth of potential regions of minerals and energy supplies on the competitive position of Australia in this particular sector. So next one is lack of investment in mining related advanced infrastructure. So although there are plentiful programs to establish minerals and energy resources related to infrastructure in the upcoming years, but the challenge is to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of investment in this sector. The utilization of capital only on limited facilities such as transport and port services means there is an inappropriate and inflexible allocation of fund, because without taking into consideration other factors such as energy and you can say telecommunications. So next one is compliance with environmental and socio-economic policies. So it is also a challenging situation for the resource sector to create a balance between development activities and sustainable environment management with many other social responsibilities like health and safety measure for manpower. So you can say there is a considerable strain on the mining industry to adopt an environmental and socio-economic perspective to encounter ripple effects of community support. So next is, what are the regulations that are governing the mining industry? So first one is maintenance of social license. For the successful working of operations in Australia, Australia's minerals and energy resources companies are required to procure and maintain social license so as to ensure uh, exposed to values, ideologies and other minimum standards within society and to provide adequate return for the depletion of resources. I think this license comprises perspectives of sustainable development and corporate social responsibility adopted by the organizations operating in this sector. So environmental assessment procedures. So there are provisions regarding assessment of impact of mining projects on environment are stringent, as authorities are considering the minimization of damage of environmental amenities as top priority. The corporations are required to anticipate and make proper assessment of level of pollution, you can say contamination of water, land use, and water management. These are main constraints that has to be taken care by the companies. Next one is emphasis on health and safety. The hazardous nature of mining industry requires that organizations must take reasonable measures to protect the workforce. You can say there are some risks due to unpredictable climate change. So due to this there are some explosions and other things, and dust inhalation and noise in mines are also should be considered. Next, reviewing policies for foreign direct investments. To examine resource sector related foreign investment proposal, the government has made a foreign investment review board. So the purpose of this board is to protect national interests and review the applications of the companies. Next one is tax regulations. Apart from tax arrangement that are in general, like corporate income and GST, capital gain tax, there are some other tax that are, we can say, also required to consider, like in the form of royalties. So these are all factors that are governing the mining industry. Next is approval requirements for exploration, retention rights, and mining lease time. So the authority to grant permits to explore mines, regulation of rights, and holding of uh, mining lease is vested only to the state and territory governments. So next one is how mining industry is adapting sustainability and environmental practice. First one is environmental stewardship. First one in this stewardship is biodiversity. Preventing biodiversity is key priority in the planning, operation, and closure of every mining project. The industry has contributed to the recovery of threatened species and provide extensive data to the National Biodiversity Research. Next is rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is planning and preparation for the rehabilitation start at very beginning of modern mine development. During mine design operation, mining companies incorporate regional environment values and community preferences. We are preparing for the future. Low water use. Australia is global leader in water management. We can, although we use 3.7% water of our total uses in mining industry, but you can say Australia values for the water use. As you can see in graph in 2015 and 16, the Australian mining industry has high value and low volume water user. It is committed to land use coexistence, progressive rehabilitation, and supporting alternative post mining uses, including agriculture and conservation. Next one is energy and climate change. First one is reliable and affordable energy. It is central to Australia's economy and living standards of all Australians over the past decades. Australia has moved from having some of lowest to some of the highest energy costs in the developed world. Next is global competition. To be competitive, Australian manufacturing and mineral processing and another energy intensive activities need a simple and pragmatic energy and climate policy that can reduce power prices and emissions as well improve network reliability. Next is technology neutral. Genuinely technology neutral should be adopted towards low emission energy sources, high efficiency, low emissions coal technologies, and alternate to coal is like nuclear energy should be considered for Australia's energy needs. Next is global responsibility. So Mineral Corporation of Australia supports Paris Agreement as office, or you can get some important data related to this as well.